Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I've got a special guest with me who's kind enough to take some time out to share some top tips on how to stay in shape well, working full time and being a busy dad at the same time. So before we get into the nitty gritty, hi Sanj,
Hey,
how you doing? Can you please tell me about yourself? What do
yeah,
you do for a living?
yeah,
How many kids do you have?
yeah,
And what are your main hobbies,
yeah,
please?
yeah. So no, good to be on this the video, Badge. Thanks for having me here. Um, so I work in a corporate job. So I work in risk, and I'm basically a head director level job. So pretty intense work that I have to do quite full time. I work for a global company, lot of random hours, but I also have three kids, age 7, 4, and 2, and as you can imagine, that's pretty difficult. You're doing the school runs. I'm getting back for work, and then once you log off work, you're kind of trying to be there, present for the kids, feed them dinner, get them to sleep, and everything, and trying to fit in workouts in between that. A lot of people use excuses not to work out and say they're too busy, but you can always find a way. So in this video, I'll talk about a little bit about how you can use your time more effectively and different types of workouts you can use. So a lot of us dads and even moms, to an extent, can actually just be more effective with their time going forward. So I look forward to going through some of that with you today.
That's good. Your diet, how many meals do you eat
Yeah,
a day, daily?
yeah.
How do you fit it in?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say super strict with counting calories and things like that. I'm a strong believer in just everything in moderation. But I'll give you a perfect example. In the morning, I would typically have, first thing I would typically do is have a couple of glasses of water. I'll have some mineral or filtered water first thing in the morning, and then maybe a cup of coffee. And then once I feel a little bit to my senses, I might have a protein shake. I typically avoid whey protein just for personal preference because you know what my body reacts better with. So I tend to have a more of a plant protein in the morning, and then sometimes about an hour or two later, I'll typically have some full fat Greek yogurt with blueberries and some cashew nuts.
Yeah,
Um, or if not, yogurt, cafe yogurt,
yeah.
which is really good because it's fermented. So that's really good for digestive health. And then sometimes, if I feel a little bit more peckish, instead of that, I'll have a few eggs and maybe a slice of wholemeal or sourdough toast. So my breakfast is nothing exciting, but yogurts, berries, nuts, eggs, they're the main things I try and do in the morning. Lunch times tend to vary. It really depends how I feel on the day. Um, Sometimes I might actually not eat anything up until 12 o'clock. I'll see how I feel. Um, that I kind of use it as more of a kind of mental strength thing,
Yeah,
to try and see, okay, can I last it and just focus on water and maybe some tea and coffee. Um, for lunch, I'll typically have like a wholemeal sandwich, typically of turkey. I'll have a turkey breast or chicken breast sandwich, um, and then in the evening time, I would typically have something similar to the kids, but depending on what they're eating. My wife tends to make a lot of kind of buckwheat pasta with runner beans, broccoli, and some chicken in there, and I tend to have that. My portion will have a little bit more spice to it. Sometimes I'll actually have one of my favorite dishes, which is probably not a dinner dish, is it more of a breakfast or lunch, is I have a salmon steak with scrambled eggs and avocado. That's one of my favorite dishes, but because it's one of the few things I can make that's quite easy, and my kids like that as well. So I tend to have that type of stuff. Once in a while, I will have a takeout. I think you can't live that strict, but when I do a takeout, it's normally grilled chicken. It's
that's good.
grilled meat, so it isn't too bad. But obviously, I like some of the sauces on it, so you need to have a little bit of flavor. So everything in moderation throughout the day in terms of snacks. The main thing I'll have is nuts. I have a lot of nuts and a lot of kind of pumpkin, sunflower seeds, and then different types of fruit throughout the day. So everything in moderation, but you can be largely healthy and still eat good food. I believe so. That's the main thing to be wary of when you're trying to balance everything throughout the day.
That's good. Do you take any specific supplements do you take?
Yeah, I do actually. So there's a reason why I take certain supplements. So besides the protein shake in the morning and maybe a post workout if I haven't felt like I've had enough food in the day, I will always take a vitamin B complex after my first meal in the day. And the vitamin B complex is really for energy levels and just general health. I'll take a vitamin C supplement. really for immunization, and just kind of strengthen your immunity, really. Vitamin D, I always take, especially when you live in a country like this. You don't get much sunlight. I work from home a lot, so I'm stuck in this kind of log cabin all the time. The only time I really get out is if I go and do the school run. So I take a vitamin D supplement to make sure I get some sufficient aspect there. And then on top of that, you know, may once in a while take some zinc supplements and things like that, depending on how I'm feeling throughout the year. But really, it's vitamin B, C, and D are my main focus supplements. I try not to take an all-in-one multivitamin. For some people, that works perfectly fine, but I typically find that the individual dosage of those vitamins that I like the most tend to be very low. So I have to supplement it with another tablet. So I rather focus on the B, C, and D, and everything else I tend to get more through foods anyway.
That's great. Your training routine.
Yeah.
How many times do you train a day? And what does it consist of? Does it consist of strength training, cardio, or anything like that?
I like to mix it up. You've got to be a little bit versatile. Otherwise, you get bored, and you won't really get much growth in your training. Whether your growth is really kind of, growing your strength, growing your muscle size, or trying to reduce the weight that you are currently on, if you want to reach a certain limit because you feel better for that weight. So it really depends. But most of the time, I will try and do some type of strength and resistance training 3 times a week. That will typically be like a push workout, pull workout, and then legs. I tend to spend quite a bit of time on legs and maybe a bit of back as well, big muscle groups. And then I'd probably say 2-3 times a week, I'll either go for a run, do a kind of cardio circuit in the house, or I'll work the heavy bag. I used to box a lot when I was younger, quite competitively. So I try and use that in my routine because it's probably one of the best workouts I could do from a cardio fitness perspective, but also at the same time is a great for stress relief. Not just hitting at the bag, but also being very technical and coordinated. I find that very helpful from just the mental health aspect as well. So I think I like to mix it up, but every 6 weeks I change the routine a little bit, but I try and stick to that 3-day strength, 3 days conditioning and cardio, and then 1 day in the week. Depending on how my body feels, I'll decide what that day in the week is. It's never a particular set day. It's just how I'm feeling at that week. I'll take that day off and not train. But even that particular day, I might feel a little bit guilty and start doing some push-ups. But that's just, always trying to stay active and healthy.
That's great. Anyway, that's probably about it. And thank you for joining.
No, my pleasure.
Thank you. Anyway, any more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to Baj Fitness and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Anyway, bye-bye.